starting that already. That's how this is going to go. Just going to tukey our way down the road. Sure. Sure. Hello, Uwuzi, JPEG, FFD8FF, Riley versus the Blade, local Glock. I don't have a Glock. Oh, hey. Asif _half, Carbine 98K. That's I'm sure you're just having I'm sure your Sunday was just amazing. Derrick Henry throwing more touchdown passes than Patrick Mahomes. Zonink! Or should I say Zoink? Who called you Zoink? Did you play in 4v4 Sundays yesterday or something? I saw your tweet. Swampy. Am I wearing a hat to cover my hair? If you paid attention, the secret to the episodes where I'm wearing my hat or not depends on if I wear a hat when I feel like I have too much hair. Thanks for the follow. Because I do have hair on my head, but if I let it grow out, I look like a really ridiculous history professor. So if I'm wearing a hat, it's because I feel like I need a haircut, or I feel like I'm having a bad hair day. I usually don't wear my hat when I feel like my hair is trimmed down to a good level. So yes, it is to cover my hair, not my lack of hair. Thanks for the follow, local G-Lock. Neko Mata. Is that the tent Neko from yesterday? From the Rising Stars, not the Rising Squids. I mean, they are squids that are on the rise. Glowing tint should be a topic of their own. I don't know, that is kind of the future, it seems like. The age of the Tetras is over, it's now the age of the tint. Thank you for the follow, Smith _ ampersand. Welcome. Yeah, hi. Brush strokes coming in. Wait, are you Smith and? Okay. I've verified you multiple times for low ink, and I've always been like, Smith and what? Smith and what? What is the other, what are you combining with Smith? I've never seen what you've combined up with there, but whatever. One low ink, Ocean 7 doesn't drop, and yeah, look what happens. You guys do actually good. Commentators were calling Watson WADs. Huh. What's up, over Cloud? Cloud with a K. Smith and Wesson. It's a Smith and Wesson. And you've had your 6. Finally watching the Popcast live for once. Hey, you could, if you don't care about getting in trouble at school or at work, you could watch me live every Monday. Hello, Falco. Falco Flyer. Nice commentary work during the Saturday portion. We had some, not to dunk on commentators we've had in the past, but I feel like this is one of the strongest commentary lineups we've had in the low ink. I thought the Luau Power Hour did a good job. DRF commentated the grand finals with me. Did a great job with Falco. Obviously, Osti, really incredible commentator alongside Debbie. And then I think Magic has done literally the only bracket resets of the year. Whenever Magic is involved, Magic is 3 for 3 for bracket resets in low inks that he commentates, and that's all the bracket resets we've had this year. So that's just great luck for him that he's getting the best ones here. It's ironic. Unless it's not. Maybe that's not a right word to describe that situation. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you're Googling the definition of secant, which is a mathematical term that I relearned recently, speculating on what the 2 in the teaser after low ink was a reference to. Tukey. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Well, that was an instant classic of a low ink, wasn't it? If there's a when IPL gets to be so big that we have a IPL classic Twitch channel where we just stream nonstop replays of classic tournaments that happened in Splatoon's history, October 2021 low ink will definitely be one of the tournaments that we watch. Not just the grand finals, but pretty much all of Sunday was amazing. A lot of the sets we put on Saturday that didn't have a whole lot of major implications into what happened at the end of the tournament were fantastic as well. A lot of really good 2-1 matchups that went into a game 3 with something on the line. Just a great low ink all around. And obviously, I thought it was so good, I figured I'd talk about it today, as I normally have done for like the past 14 or so low inks, maybe 15. We've been talking about low ink a lot here on the Popcast, and you guys like it when I do it, so I figured I kept doing it again. News of other tournaments that's been going on or will be going on. Little Squid League 16 is going to be next Saturday. Not this upcoming Saturday, but the Saturday after that on November the 6th. I don't have Discord pulled up, so I'm not going to look it up on Battlefy real quick. But make sure you sign up for that. If you're, I don't know what the official cutoff for that one is, but it's they have an exemption request channel just like Low Ink. So if you don't know if you're eligible for that or not, make sure you ask for an exemption. Maybe some of you play too good in this past Low Ink and maybe you get banned. I have no clue. I have no say in anything like that, but it's a tournament I enjoy watching. It's a tournament I love talking about. And that's another one. There's like a fan base that watches only Popcast episodes of Little Squid League recap. So it's good to have those guys around once a month. And so we like Little Squid League around here. 16th edition next Saturday. This upcoming Saturday is the shopping list tournament. Spawn Point hosting the Spawn Point TV's hosting the shopping list tourney. Let me look that up real quick. And that is going to be this upcoming Saturday, the 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, gosh. All right. We'll make that work. Regardless, if you're interested in this tournament, it is I don't like the term meme tournament. I think that's not the nicest thing to call it. I think gimmick is fair, though. I would totally call this a gimmick tournament. It is. There is a huge prize pool for it, given out to the teams that finish first through eighth place. Um, so I that makes it that makes this way more competitive than I thought it was going to be initially. But if you're interested in this, sign up for it. I think Destiny Troops is going to sign up for it. Yeah, the map list is suck. Well, I mean, it's just for fun, is what they say. Even though the prize pool would indicate that there's something much more on the line than just fun. But again, I think my team's going to play in it, and I would encourage you to do so as well. A lot of people have been talking about it. I think my team's cracked the code. I feel like we got the right $20 comp that well, it's not unbeatable, but I feel like I think we got the best one that you can come up with, and I'm not sharing it with any of you or anybody. It helps when you have somebody like on your team like Z who can be really effective with a $2 weapon. Or a $3 weapon. Today, we're going to be talking about low ink, obviously. We'll also be talking about some of the other tournaments that happened this past week, because it wasn't just low ink that took place, and there was a bunch of other things that you want to keep an eye on, so we'll be referencing that at some point as well. But first, well, Magic and I did another low ink, and we had another barn burner of a tournament take place this past weekend. There's always some sort of oddity that happens, right? There's always some sort of disconnect that happens at an unfortunate time. There's always some team that the entire team pulls the LAN cable at the same time at a certain spot. There's always something weird that happens whenever me and Magic are commentating together in a low ink. Nothing really weird happened this time outside of the ordinary. Or did it? No DCs, no incidents. But every low ink has had a lot of drops. Like that's nothing new. Like low ink is always going to have teams that are dropping from the tournament because there are a ton of teams that sign up, so the odds of teams dropping are higher just because there's more teams that are capable of dropping. And two, it's a 2-day tournament, and having 4 players who are available for the entirety of the weekend isn't always something that can be possible. So you'll see teams that'll roll into a low ink with 4 or just 5 people in their roster, and then one person's little brother kicks the router, or somebody has a storm pop up at their house, or somebody gets yelled at because they didn't take out the trash, or they get grounded for the weekend, and all of a sudden you can't play because you don't have 4 players. And then what people will come into help desk and they'll be like, I need a sub. Well, okay, like 7 other teams needed a sub earlier, and they kind of took all of the subs that we had because we don't get a ton. We do get a ton of people that sign up as subs, but we don't get enough to really like feed into the teams that are always like the demand outweighs the supply heavily for subs that are needed for low ink. And maybe that's on us. Maybe we don't promote like the idea, like maybe I don't think people know that they can register for a sub other than just Z. I don't think people know. Legal people don't know that they can register as a sub in low ink. So maybe we need to do more to spread the word about that. Maybe we need to get in contact with like the it's dangerous to go alone guys, or like Launch Point or something, and just be like, hey, if you don't have a team, you can still play in low ink. In fact, you will play in low ink. If you register as a sub, you will end up on a team because somebody is going to need you a lot of teams are going to need you. Like, you can almost take a pick of like which team you want to play for. That's how many teams are necessary for that. But still, drops are very common in low ink and always will be. 8 drops on Saturday. I haven't looked back at all the other low inks to like compare that number to against them, but 8 seems like a lot. This is drops that happen during the actual tournament, not drops that happen before, because there are always a lot of people that recognize before the tournament starts, oh crap, our fourth isn't waking up on time, we're not going to be able to play, we're dropping. But this is 8 teams that drop during the actual Swiss stage of the tournament. How many teams did we have drop Sunday? I don't know. I want to say 4 to 5 teams dropped on Sunday, and that is really the story here. 2 teams dropped an alpha bracket. That is significant. We've had one team drop an alpha bracket before, like between here and there. Like it's uncommon for one team to drop from alpha bracket. And I'm willing to bet my channel points that there's never been a low ink where 2 alpha bracket teams dropped from alpha bracket. Again, always people drop from beta, always people drop from gamma, but 2 in alpha, that is significant. And it really defined this low ink in an interesting way that I never really thought would happen. Literally Feeding, that is a team name, not what you guys were doing yesterday. Literally Feeding was the first team to drop. Okay, cool. Aquatic Vanguard was the first team in the on-deck circle. They got called up from AAA and are now playing in the big boy alpha bracket. If you're wondering why, it's because, yes, there are 2 teams that finished in 9th place in there because there's 2 different Swiss groups, but Aquatic Vanguard had the higher opponent win percentage over the other team. So Aquatic Vanguard was the first team called up. Congratulations. We have everything set. All the brackets put in place. It is 12:58. We're ready. We're just waiting 2 more minutes to hit the go live button, start the bracket. I already have the streams picked. The matches that we're going to put on stream, I already had all of those picked and highlighted, which is why there was a little bit of confusion. We actually contacted 2 different matches at the start of Sunday because I forgot to switch the highlight after the bracket got switched up. But it's 12:58. We're ready to go live. In help desk, old Snowfall comes wandering in. Oops, we need the drop. We can't play today. If the timing of that, yeah, that's frustrating as a TO, but we get it. Like, we understand, and we would rather them tell us before we start the bracket rather than after. But here's what happens: if they waited like 2 minutes, and we hit that go live button, and then they roll into their round 1 match and are just like, we can't play, we don't have enough. And they just take the auto L and we drop them from the tournament, which we've done before. But if they wait for that, Rising Stars is stuck in beta bracket. That's how close. That's how unconventional the route Rising Stars took to get into alpha bracket was. That if Snowfall just waited 2 more minutes, they're not even there at all. They're competing against Ink Bashers probably in a grand finals to determine the winner of beta bracket there. So, because of that, we get one of the most interesting and unique stories in low ink that we've ever had. And 2 teams in alpha bracket that were from beta. Now, traditionally, teams from beta moving up to alpha bracket haven't done anything significant. I guess, I mean, they get a win here or there, but it's never been the major storyline. But both teams that got moved up there, Aquatic Vanguard kind of gets overlooked a little bit because maybe you didn't recognize they were a beta team in alpha, but they did pretty good themselves. They got 2 wins in losers bracket. They beat OK Woomer. They eliminated Leg. Those are 2 quality wins. So it's Aquatic Vanguard proved they belonged in Alpha Bracket. Like it wasn't a fluke at all. And obviously, we saw what Rising Stars did, coming one game away from winning the entire tournament. What does this kind of say, though? It should. I feel like I've been saying this for a while, but this kind of cements this. This is kind of like the exclamation point on the whole thing. There is no real difference between beta and alpha bracket, is there? I mean, the typical skill level of beta bracket, yes, is slightly lower than alpha bracket. But if we can just take two teams that finished in 9th place because their opponent win percentage was just slightly lower than the team that was above them, they're right with all of these teams. That's why I always say, it doesn't matter how good you do on Saturday, as long as you make alpha bracket. If you get those 5 wins, you're guaranteed that spot. If you get 4, you're at the mercy of your opponent win percentage. But any team that goes 4-2, and several teams that go 3-3 are literally just as good as everybody else. They just had a bad Saturday, or they just got fed like that right team that is just the perfect counter against them, and just couldn't overcome that on Saturday. But this maybe the stigma we've have of, well, alpha is just significantly better than beta, which is just significantly better than gamma. I think Sunday proved that's not the case at all. If 2 beta bracket teams can just roll in and just slap all these alpha teams around pretty much all Sunday long, maybe we need to change how we view these different teams depending on what bracket that they finish up in, myself included. Rising Stars almost got the most miracle of all miracle wins, hitting the wall in Game 4 and 5 to Uwu in the bracket reset. Or did they hit a wall? We were kind of talking about it. We were expecting them to do so at some point, right? Because no team has ever, and this is still true, no team has ever lost round 1 of Alpha Bracket and then gone all the way through to win Low Inc. Because Alpha Bracket is a little bit more draining. It's a little bit more stressful. You're playing in matches all day long to where if you lose once, you are done. And Rising Stars did play in several do-or-die Game 3s in Alpha Bracket. If you win those, it's great, but each one of those games is so incredibly stressful and draining on your heart and your soul and your mind that it does take a toll on you, and eventually you get into a grand finals, and what we've seen is teams just turn to autopilot, and you're playing against a team that is playing actually coordinated and competitive Splatoon, and you just can't keep up with them. We just haven't seen it happen. Rising Stars didn't really hit the wall, though. They kept going. In fact, they had every excuse to show that they hit the wall. They went down 2-0 in a best of 5, not a best of 7 bracket at the very beginning, and it looked like Uwu was just going to run away with it. Then all of a sudden, they flip a switch and find a second gear and just started dominating. Now, it is kind of worth noting, because of the counter pick system, Uwu had to keep picking tower control because they just didn't want to go to Clan Blitz. That was the only other mode that they could have picked, but they were willing to die on the hill of tower control, and Rising Stars was like, okay, we're totally fine with this. Rising Stars, after going down 2-0, won 6 of the next... No, they won 5 of the next 6 matches in that bracket, in that grand finals. 5 of the last 6. That is devastating to Uwu. And it really says a lot about Uwu's mentality that they were able to go in the middle of that grand finals, just take loss after loss after loss after loss, get a win, and then lose 2 more times, that they were able to bounce back from that. Because that's something else we've seen in Low Inc. As I've said several times, that when there is a bracket reset in Low Inc., the team from the loser side is undefeated in the bracket reset. 6-0 all time. Why is that? It's mentality once again. You're coming in as the winner's side. You're supposed to win. Uwu was supposed to, yeah, that was supposed to be a sweep. They got reverse swept in the first bracket, win game 1, and then go down 2 more games right after that. And they're going into game 4 and 5 in must-win situations when they've been in must-win situations that entire grand finals, it seems like. And then all of a sudden, the mindset to go to Rainmaker Anchovy games, and you got a player who has just been doing almost next to nothing but spamming specials the entirety of the tournament. Booyah Bomb with orange, Booyah Bomb with the arrow spray, missiles with orange inzap. And to their credit, not to knock them, but they weren't getting any splat, like hardly any splats at all with any of those weapons. But the point was to use the specials to force the teams to force the opponents to move out of certain positions so the rest of Uwu can capitalize off of that kind of forced movement there. But like that player individually was not lighting up the stat sheet as far as KAs were concerned. So to say, let's take that player and move them to freaking vanilla Blob Obler and just have this, and we're going to just use that in a do or die game when they haven't been using Blob the entire tournament, possibly the entire weekend. The guts, the cojones to make that switch is crazy. And it worked. Game 1, or game 4, I should say, the first game of them using the Blob, they top fragged 7 KA in like a minute and a half with the Blob Obler. Where was this all of a sudden? And then game 5, tower control at Art Academy. They used it again. And that was the most mind-boggling thing to me. And I actually said it on stream. I thought it was a mistake. I thought they forgot to switch weapons or something. Because the build they were using, double 2 mains of swim speed, was clearly indicated for Rainmaker. So that's why I thought, oh, they accidentally used Blob for tower control. But it worked out even better. Well, maybe not even better, but it worked out just as good there as they got another like minute and a half KO to end the tournament. The one adjustment, when I think about people making adjustments mid-set, I think about way back to when the Grillers were playing Avalanche back in that was like June or July. No, it was July of last year, where the Grillers forced a bracket reset, and then their player that was using, I believe, Mini at the time, just switched to Squeezer, and all of a sudden, that was the jolt of life Avalanche needed. They didn't win that set, but it still was an adjustment we hadn't seen all tournament long that did change the course of that for the better for that team. So many teams, this is what sucks about teams that are one-dimensional. They're either really good at that one thing that they do, but when it doesn't work and they don't have a plan B, then what do? Uwu had a plan B, and it worked. And it's so crazy to think about, but that was one of the gutsiest decisions I think we've seen in Low Ink that actually paid off. Now, if they don't win that Rainmaker game, then yeah, we're having a different conversation here. We're talking about, okay, using the Blob when you have been using arrow spray and inzap the entire time. Okay, that was a dumb decision. You kind of just threw there, but it didn't because it worked out. So we're going to give them praise for it, and they deserve it. What a gutsy call by Uwu. Now, what happens if Rising Stars wins this one? How would you feel about that? A team that was supposed to be in beta bracket winning the entire Low Ink. The only reason they got there is because 2 teams had the drop. I don't know how I would feel about. I mean, they would have earned it. I feel like they would have clearly earned their spot there, but because of what they did on Sunday, even though they didn't really earn it on Saturday. But I don't know. That's an interesting thought. But I will say it doesn't matter because Uwu ended up winning. Do I owe Uwu an apology? I don't know. I mean, if we looked at my top 10, and I say I always give out apologies when necessary, I put Uwu at number 8 on my top 10. And some of them DM'd me afterwards after they won Low Ink. It is okay, if me saying I think you're one of the teams to win the tournament, but I don't think you are the one team that will win the tournament. If that's what you guys need to put a chip on your shoulder, go right ahead. But I did put them at number 8. I feel like that's fair at the time. I mean, they were the reason I put them at number 8. The reason I put them on the top 10 at all is because they went 6-0 in the August tournament on Saturday, right? Like they dominated Saturday, and then Sunday came around, and they just got riggedy wrecked, son. I mean, they were the number 1 seed. They lost 3-1 to New Rave, and then got eliminated 2-0 by the Sentinels. I mean, so that's why I was like, okay, well, you are a top 10 team somewhere, but I can't justify you being over somebody like Wipeout Punks or Access Denied or Myopsidus, teams that have actually gotten deep results on Alpha Bracket, whereas the best thing Uwu had to their name at that point was a Gamma Bracket win. So it's really, I was genuinely surprised. I'm not surprised that Uwu made Alpha Bracket, honestly, but when they went on their run, they beat who? They beat the Cheez-It team. I was like, okay, that's understandable. And then they got a 3-1 win over Phoenix. I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense. That there's, Phoenix, a team that earned their spot in Alpha Bracket, but kind of a newerish team. So I feel like Uwu's experience kind of got them past that. But then they played Wipeout Punks in semifinals, and this one wasn't on stream. But Wipeout Punks 3-0'd Uwu. I think I'll talk about that later. But regardless, in the rematch, Uwu 3-0'd Wipeout Punks. That, when I saw that, my jaw hit the floor. Like that, wow. I was shocked that they beat them regardless. I was even more shocked that they swept them 3-0. And Uwu didn't really look back since. I mean, and when we got Ulu on stream and they played Myopsidus, you get the sense of like, okay, if it wasn't that DC, maybe they win that game 4 outright anyways, but they ended up clutching out a very dramatic game 5 in that winner's bracket against Myopsidus. I mean, Uwu was they were just playing the right style at the right time and just couldn't lose until they did start losing, and then found a way to kind of flip the switch and get those wins back. Even more impressive. A very impressive run for Uwu. So if you want me to say, I'll say, I'm sorry I put you at number 8. I feel like that's fair, though. But hey, 8, I at least said you were a team who could win this tournament. Other teams that we got here, ITAP, I had them at number 7, but looks like I undervalued them a little bit as well. What, they finish tied for 5th or tied for 7th, actually. Where do you go here? Losers round 4, third place 4. No, tied for 5th. Yeah, they finished tied for 5th. So undervalued them a little bit. I felt weird putting them on the top 10 just because we knew things would happen that are outside of their control. But when they don't, they dominate, and they dominated here. A couple of other teams in my top 10 dropped. Leg made Alpha Bracket. Myopsidus finished. I had them at number 3, and they finished at number 3. So there you go. I'll take that as a dub. And Wipeout Punks and Access Denied were number 2 and number 1. Those two teams played against each other. I think the issue with that is once those teams lost, they really struggled to get their footing back in losers bracket. And they played against each other in quarterfinals. And it was on stream, and it was really great. And it went to a game 5. And my mindset watching that one was, this feels like a winner's finals that we're playing in quarterfinals here. Like, it sucks that one of these teams has to be eliminated at this point. And Access Denied just couldn't win that game 5. And obviously, you get the sense after Wipeout Punks clutch out that game 5, and then they go run into the buzzsaw of Uwu, that we're just in that they just couldn't really I think they left too much emotionally into that access denied set to escape that, to go into the buzzsaw against Uwu. Oh, this team we 3-0'd them or something like that. But still, my top 10 as a whole, I don't know. I'll give an apology to Uwu, but I think everything else here is fair. A low ink that was predictable until it wasn't at several points. Low ink as a whole. We made some quality of life adjustments that seemed to work. Round 1, if you notice, on Sunday was no longer best of 5. It was best of 3. And Grand Finals was now a best of 5 instead of a best of 7. The tournament, the reason we did that is because these tournaments weren't lasting crazy long, but they had the potential to, like they always had the potential to. And as I was sitting here at Riptide, watching that Grand Finals and seeing it be a best of 5 between Starburst and not FTW with a bracket reset, and seeing it be just as hype as a best of 7, it got into my mind. It was like, why are we doing best of 7 to Grand Finals that could go possibly 14 games after we're asking teams to play 3.5 hours to do basically a Ludi set and a half potentially of another tournament? That seems like too much. So that's where the idea that I had to switch it to best of 5, and that seemed to and I just kind of pitched it to everybody else, and it seemed to be, everyone else seemed to like it. And it created a great Grand Finals. I feel like the quality of Grand Finals was even more epic now that you know that each game holds a lot more value than what they do in just like a best of 7 set. And you get to you get more bracket resets because they're easier to get to. You get the counter pick system isn't as weird because it's not, with best of 7, you have to do like, okay, you can pick the map that you most recent. You can't pick the mode that you most recently won on, but if you won on Splat Zones 2 wins ago, you can go back to that. That way you can't just like create a trap to where, oh, you can only pick Clan Blitz now because you won on the other 3 modes. So it makes counter picking a little bit easier as well for Grand Finals. But overall, also the round 1 best of 3, that's just because you idiots take so long to do round 1. Round 1, when it was best of 5, was taking like 45 minutes. And it was slowing down everything. It's because you guys take so long to get into your lobbies. Like somebody's doing league. Oh, sorry, our guy's doing solo queue and he started another match. So like the first game doesn't start till like 1:10 Eastern time, and it's like, no, we can't be doing this. We get round 1 of winners done. That starts losers bracket quicker, and we get the whole tournament over with quicker. So that's why the best of 3 in round 1 was the thing. Another issue, or another good quality of life function of what this does, is that it gets teams to a grand finals faster and fresher, so that they're coming in again. It's not the mindset of, oh gosh, I've been playing in losers all day long. Now I have to win 8 games. Like I have to force a bracket reset and then win 4 more games. No, this time you got to go and you'll be like, okay, we just got to win 3, and then we just got to win 3 more, and we're done. And it's just best of 5. Just the mindset of best of 5 versus best of 7 is less daunting for those teams from the losers bracket. This tournament, with an alpha bracket that went to a game 10 out of possible 10 games, that where a lot of matches on stream did go to a game 5 or a game 3 in the loser side. This is about as long as a low ink could possibly go with this new format. And it only lasted 4.5 hours. That was 15 minutes faster than the August tournament, which didn't have a bracket reset in alpha. So with these quality of life changes, we have a faster tournament that is never, knock on wood, never going to go longer than 4.5 hours. That's a huge dub. I mean, most of these longs are going to be even quicker than this. And again, keep in mind, another thing that kind of slowed down this tournament is that we had to delay the start because teams dropped literally right the minute before, and we had we got to reseed alpha, we got to reseed beta, and we got to reseed gamma now because everybody bumps up when somebody from alpha drops. So with all of these things working against us, this was still one of the fastest low inks we've had, and they're only going to get faster from here. So I think that's a dub. Some people will say 4.5 hours is too long for a tournament. I agree. If you guys have a better format to determining a champion on Sunday that's going to be quicker and fair for everybody, let's hear it. Suggestion channel is open. Double elimination sucks for some people. It's good for others. If you win your winner's bracket, you're going to have to wait. That's not like a low ink surprise. Any double elimination tournament where you win the winner's bracket, you have to wait. You are going to wait an hour. The thing I would say is take a break. My team has been in that situation before in the Ash Cup. We won winner's bracket and we had like an hour wait. Let's put the game down. Took the dog for a walk, got some lunch, just relaxed, watched the stream a little bit, and then did some warm-ups, did a league game when we were ready to go. Won the tournament. But those teams that are like, oh, we got an hour to wait, let's just play league for an hour. Those teams are killing themselves doing that. Single elimination, no, you can't do a single elimination for low ink. The problem with that is if you are forcing your teams to come back on Sunday, you need something to entice them to come back. If you force them to come back on a day 2 and half of them are gone in 15 minutes, you screwed up as a TO. Like you screwed over all those teams. If you're going to do single elimination, you just got to do it right after your Swiss. Like you got to do it all on Saturday, which Saturday would last like 5.5 to 6 hours at that point, which is why low ink is a 2-day tournament. But yeah, if any of you have a solution that's better, ask ways about waterfall. There are like some other formats. There's like Frosh from, I guess, formerly of Xanadu had a good one that was a double elimination group that fed into a top cut. Like if you finished in the top 2 of your double elimination group, you moved on. But then again, if you introduce any kind of new concept, you guys, some of you are really struggling with counter picks. And it's like, okay, if we introduce a brand new tournament format to some of you guys, help desk is just going to fall apart because we still got people that are trying to make illegal counter picks and have to go to help desk and try to wait. What do you mean I can't just camp on splat zones the whole time? We'll talk about some matches coming up. I could talk about low ink all day long, but we need to talk about the matches. We need to talk about other things. So let's take a little bit of a transitional break to the lovely and talented weekly recap.
Does get to 52, they get even more points. They got to 8. 8. So hard. It's gonna be for Violet. They managed to pop it again, and they KO.
Oh.
That was Fern and Skepadillion on the call for IPL's SOS number 46, Swim or Spook. I think that was Fern commentating loud enough so where his mom didn't hear him or something like that. That was a very Fern way to cap off a tournament there that saw Micklin Heroes beating Garfield's Halloween Adventure in a grand finals of SOS. Narwhal Gaming taking third over Ori Booze. A lot of spoopy names in this SOS. Swimmer Spook there. Good to see Micklin Heroes win. They played Narwhal Gaming last week, early on in that Great White bracket. Didn't get the win against them. Narwhal Gaming finishing in third this time, who won last week. So Micklin Heroes, Narwhal Gaming have kind of risen up and said, hey, this pickup team that's usually winning these winning these SOS or finishing deep into these SOSs, which now went by Garfield's Halloween Adventure. we should rise up and try to challenge those guys. And they did. And beat them this time around. Good to see. I love pickup teams, unless I don't. But it's good to see actual teams come back and play consistently, start to challenge to win these SOS tournaments. Halloween. One Hammerhead. The team players for Halloween being Prosper, Bashdug, Lucas, Sum, and Half? Slim. Maybe that's Slim. I wish I could read my own handwriting. Mako Bracket was won by basically Way, WEA, which was basically, from what I could tell, was a conversion to pickup. And INKD, Inked, won Lantern Bracket in that tournament. Squid Junction, number 12, featuring Dapple Productions. This was on Saturday night here on the in North America. Oreos beat Rising Matrix to win this tournament. Garfield's Halloween Adventure taking third place in this one. Rising Matrix, are they back? Can we just call them an actual team now? They keep signing up with Rising Matrix and like 4 question marks after their name. I'm just going to assume they are an actual team until told otherwise, because they've been playing pretty consistently. It's kind of like that couple, that just keeps breaking up, but they just love each other so much that they can't escape, so they gotta keep coming back to each other's arms. Fair enough. Rising Matrix pretty good. It's good to see them actually playing together. 20-ish teams played in this double elimination tournament here in Squid Junction number 12. Good to see Squid Junction constantly improving, constantly getting better and better teams signing up for their tournament and coming out and playing for it. 4v4 Sundays took place yesterday, because yesterday was the Sunday. How does that work out? FT Win took first place. Jackpot took second. And Chara's pickup team, I think it was like Evil Splatoon team reads the rules or something like that. Made up of Chara, Samakado, Twig, and Kaden. Took third place there in this tournament. I believe all 3 of those teams got a cash prize compensation of some sort in this tournament. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing in it, because there's nothing for them to gain in a tournament with no prize. Fair enough. I think the real winner here is Jackpot. We've seen Jackpot play consistently in tournaments outside of Super Jump, so they seem to be a real thing, which is good. Now we got FT Win, Starburst, and Jackpot, who is capable of beating all 3 of those teams, capable of beating each other. It's not just FT Win sitting at the top of the mountain and nobody can touch them. So it's good to see Jackpot is a consistent, real thing up to this point. I don't think Starburst played in this one. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have finished somewhere. I saw Good Morning said they were seeded 12th and finished 5th. I haven't looked at the actual bracket for this, so I'd be interested to see who was seeded, who all was seeded above Good Morning. But still a good win from them. Are we going to see them in the Splatter Ladder tourney? Was that confirmed? Rams get an ugly win over the Lions, 28-19. The Kansas City Chiefs fall to 3-4 with a 27-3 loss to the Tennessee Titans. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Woodwick, the official candle of the Popcast. I have the vanilla bean. It crackles as it burns, which is why I don't use it while I'm streaming or talking or on Discord or something, because it probably will be picked up on this microphone. So I don't really like the crackle sense of it, but it does make a nice little smell. It smells so good. You just have to trust me. Just imagine a vanilla bean smell in your head, and that's what it is. Woodwick, the official sponsor of today's episode of the Popcast. Hey, any actual sponsor? You see how good I am at selling stuff? Like chat is definitely going to go buy that, and I just did that for free. You actually pay me money. I will wear your shirt. I will like change the name of the Popcast to like the Burger King Cast if I have to. Like, I will sell myself out. I don't care. Switch matches. We're talking about all the matches from Saturday. Not all of them. I don't have enough time for that. A couple of matches I want to point out here. First off, Rising Tide got a 2-1 win over Sia. This was a good set to be put on stream. So at the very beginning of the stream on Saturday, we had one match we were going to do, and then one of the teams on that went to help us, said, oops, we're dropping, sorry. So we had to scramble and find a new match last minute, and we got into this one. So we didn't see game one of this, but it seemed to be pretty close between these two teams. It went to a game 3 with something actually on the line, a 1-point win in game 3 at Tower Control Art Academy for Rising Tide, a team that went on to win Gamma Bracket. So for Sia, who has a great name, and I like it when teams have good names. I feel like Sia is a good one, even though they didn't get the win against Rising Tide here. Astro got a good 2-1 win against LT3. This was a good tournament for Astro. We'll be talking about them more later. And a good bounce back from a bad Game 1 loss on Tower Control main stage. Usually, when you're dominant for the entire game and then the other team just steamrolls you at the end, you think, okay, that sets up the course of this set from a close Game 1. But Game 2 and 3, Astro bounced back and got a really nice win. Pretty dominant win in the last two, but the fact that they were able to bounce back dominantly after a heartbreaking loss in Game 1 shows the tough mentality of Astro. So it's good to see them get that win there. Peer Pressure got a 2-1 win over Rising Hope. PP got into a lot of 1-1 Game 3 scenarios that I believe I'll be talking about a little bit later. And this one's probably the most impressive, clutching out a Game 3 against Rising Hope to get the win against them. Rising Hope, they said that they broke their 4-2 curse by going 3-3. They still ended up in beta bracket anyways. But Rising Hope, hey, at least they got to play with their actual roster. At one point, they were at Rising Purdue or something like that, or ITAP Hope or something. So the fact that they got to play with their actual roster all the way through here, benefit regardless, but still a good win for Peer Pressure. JPEG got a 2-1 win over Vivace. We put this team on stream because it was like, oh, okay, it's the funny JPEG team. And it looks like it might be a good matchup because the other team's got the same record as them, which was like 3-1 at the time. This honestly was one of the best Switch matches we have ever put on. One of the... I mean, each game was just a barn burner, if you will, and just came down to the closing seconds, and there was just, it was just overall just a fun match to put on, and I'm glad that I think that was the first one that Falco and DRF got to commentate, so I'm glad they got to commentate such a great set. Up the Ante and Nightshade X was one of the better Switch matches we put on stream as well. Not this tournament, but in like a couple of months ago. Lowings that was put on, but still that JPEG Vivace match, that's definitely a good one to watch if you want to go back and look at it. Speaking of Up the Ante, they got a 3-0 sweep over Emptiness. Such a dark and depressing team name. This is another example of why beta and gamma doesn't really mean anything, because Up the Ante, traditional gamma team, went up to beta bracket this time around and took on Emptiness, who did make alpha bracket and swept them, dismissed them 3-0. We'll talk more about Up the Ante, but that's a huge win from a beta team over an alpha bracket team. We usually don't see a 3-0 sweep that style over that kind of a team. It's usually something closer to like a 2-1, but nice win nonetheless. Okay, Wimmer got a 2-1 win over Rising Stars. This win is actually what kind of separated these two teams into alpha and beta. It was a round 5 matchup, which those round 5 and 6 matchups are so critical. And, okay, Wimmer got the win over Rising Stars there. You got to keep in mind, Rising Stars, yeah, they made grand finals, but there was a reason they fell to beta. They took 2 losses, and this loss here against OK Wimmer is probably what drove the stake into the heart of 2 alpha bracket contenders just running into each other here. Wipeout Punks got a 3-0 win over Unlimited Woomy United. Of course, there was a rematch on Sunday. I've already kind of talked about that. But they played each other on Saturday, and this was the only team to outright beat Uwu the entire tournament outside of the bracket reset they technically lost. Or the first bracket of grand finals they technically lost here. But Uwu was 5-0 heading up to this one, looking to go 12-0 in back-to-back tournaments combined until Wipeout Punk said, nah, we're just going to sweep your butts. And so there you go. Well, good quality win for Wipeout Punks. And again, that's why I'm more surprised Wipeout Punks didn't win this whole tournament, because they went 6-0 and they looked dominant doing it. But Saturday and Sunday doesn't always translate to each other. Both teams were 5-0 when they met up in that point as well. That's very rare. I mean, if two teams are 5-0, of course they're going to play each other in round 6. Swiss is just going to force that to happen. And we don't put those matches on stream because we assume we're going to stream that on Sunday anyways, and we'd rather get a match that's very close that could go either way. Speaking of which, the match we did put on stream instead was Emptiness getting a 2-1 win over Vaporwave. We had some issues pop up in help desk, so I couldn't watch game 3, but it's cool. It's always good when you go to round 6 and you put a match on stream. You know the winners go into alpha, the losers getting stuck down the beta or sometimes gamma, and it goes to a game 3. So you can feel it feels like the perfect climax to the Saturday stream, like there's actually something on the line, and Emptiness was able to just kind of clutch that one out. Anima got a 3-0 sweep over Snow Cone Inc. This was the number 1 seed beta team last in August, Snow Cone, and Anima is the team that finished in second place in beta this month, and it was a pickup team. So the fact that these two teams met up, and Anima said, we'll take that beta spot from you if you don't mind, and got a nice 3-0 sweep there. Definitely a tournament of pickup teams in this low ink, as a lot of them kind of popped off in various skill levels here. The biggest win of the tournament, in my opinion, during Saturday, has to go out to Squadra Azura, who got a 2-1 win over Power Inc. This was a round 1 stunner. And we've kind of switched things up. In round 1, it's traditionally just been anything goes. Let Swiss decide. We wanted to make things a little bit easier here. We wanted to make, if you're an alpha bracket team, and I'm not breaking any news. We talked about this before, but we don't seed teams, but we do give you a number, like 1 being the alpha teams, 2 being the betas, 3 gamma for teams that don't make it or are new and we don't know enough about them or something like that. So we set it up now to where all the teams that get a 1 will play all the teams that get a 4, basically. So round 1 is at least semi-seeded. So we don't get like grand final matchups in round 1. We let just that can happen in round 2 because there's nothing you can do about that. But at least round 1 we control somewhat. And Squadra Azura just pulled off a monster upset. Now Power Inc., a little bit of a down tournament for them. It's fine. You're allowed to have a down tournament. It doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. It's not, oh wow, we suck now. No, Power Inc.'s still a really strong team. But hats off to Squadra Azura. That's a hell of a win for them right there in round 1. My winners from the bracket, from the Swiss stage this tournament. Let's go with Ocean 7. AKA Spooky 7, who I honestly didn't realize it was Ocean 7 until one of them pointed it out later. And I was like, oh, yeah. I forgot you guys played in this tournament because you changed your name. They went 3-3 with key wins over Ink Alliance, Apex, and I'm just happy they didn't drop. I think they've dropped top 5 tournaments in a row. And at some point, if you keep signing up for tournaments and keep dropping, we're going to have a conversation with you because it does screw up a lot of things. But hey, they actually played all the way through here, and I believe I'm going to talk more about them later too because they popped off in the bracket they made. Phoenix went 5-1 with the highest opponent win percentage, meaning they had the toughest schedule of the entire tournament, and they found a way to get 5 wins anyway. 69.4% was their opponent win percentage. Key wins coming against Extra Big Cheez-Its, Peer Pressure, Overflow, Literally Feeding, and Blue Moon. Only loss came to Leg, a fan favorite Leg, who did make Alpha Bracket themselves. So not a bad tournament for Phoenix. Peer Pressure went 4-2 with key wins against Enigma, Radical Dreamer, Rising Hope, and Tidal Abyss. All of those wins came as 2-1 results. So they faced 4 matches where they had to clutch out a win, and they did every single time. A good bounce back for Peer Pressure as well. Had a rough tournament the last time they played in Low Ink, but much better this time around. Literally Feeding went 5-1 with key wins against Access Denied, Shiver Me Inklings, Aquatic Vanguard. This is one of the 2 teams that we caught from the Nintendo ladder tournament. And this is one of the best teams we've had come from that Nintendo tournament. As far as we could tell, this was their first time playing in a non-Nintendo tournament. We saved them. And they seem to be doing really good here. They had the drops Sunday, so we didn't get to see what they could do in Alpha Bracket, but they seem to be a pretty strong team. Welcome to competitive Splatoon. You guys are pretty good. Aquatic Vanguard went 4-2 with key wins over Astro. What was the name of this team? Kimomimi, EDM Squad, Ink Bashers, and beat the Beta Bracket champions. Ink Bashers, actually. Of course, Aquatic Vanguard got the call up to the Major League Alpha Bracket after Literally Feeding dropped early on Sunday. So, Aquatic Vanguard, you got to feel good. They beat the team that won Beta Bracket. So that makes me feel good that they got into Alpha Bracket anyways. Not saying they could beat Ink Bashers again in an environment where they get to control counter picks and things like that. It's a completely different tournament at that point, but still, not a bad Saturday for Aquatic Vanguard. The Sweepy Seals went 3-3, and I'm not going to point out their key wins. I'm going to point out their key losses. The teams that beat the Sweepy Seals, Leg, Shiver Me Inklings, Myopsidus, all 1-2 losses, meaning the Sweepy Seals were 3 games away from going 6-0 in this tournament against quality teams. Just a bad break for the Sleepy Seals. It didn't really bounce in their favor, but still, they're close. They seem to be really close to getting something done here. JPEG, the pickup team, not the head TO, went 4-2 in this tournament with a key win over Snowcone, Vivace, Anima, another pickup team. They did JPEG proud in this one, I say, especially with that match on stream. Made up of Sneck, Slayer, Sonar, and Dez. I believe Sneck announced that they are officially on BLT going forward here, so that's going to be exciting to see that they finished their recruitment. Astro went 3-3 with a key win over Enigma, LT3, and Spartan Inc. I couldn't find the last Low Ink they played in. It's been a while, and I didn't want to just go through all of the Low Inks until I found Astro again. But I know it's been a while since Low Ink has played since Astro has played in Low Ink as a team. But I reckon that they'd never finished as high as 17th place in their Swiss group before. So a very strong result here for Astro. Squadra Azura. Talked about how they beat Power Inc. They went 3-3. Also beat Intimidation Factor and Inker Swim. Earned a spot in Beta Bracket after drops. Is this their first Low Ink? I know they played in Ludi, but I feel like this is their first Low Ink as a team. So nice result for them there. Emptiness went 4-2 with key wins over Vaporwave, Snowcone, Ink, Twilight English, and OK Woomer. The Alpha Bracket, for the first time this team has played in Low Ink as a team. I think these players have played in it before, but this Emptiness. Some people were saying if this was a team from Japan. I don't think so. I feel like we have had teams from Japan play in Low Ink in the past, but I can't confirm or deny that Emptiness is. Maybe somebody in chat knows. Snowfall went 5-1 with key wins over BLT, Vaporwave, JPEG. Had to drop last minute because causing a new incident, I guess you could say, in Alpha Bracket. But Gamma Bracket champs, the last time they played in Low Ink, to going 5-1 here and qualifying for Alpha Bracket outright. Good things in the future for Snowfall if they can at least get 4 people that can play consistently. The biggest winner from this Low Ink has to be none other than Up the Ante, going 4-2 with key wins over Emptiness, Polaris, Twilight Anglers, Rolling Squids. The Up the Ante team just keeps getting better and better and better every time we see them. They are the new team that is constantly trending up and up and up. So it's good to see Up the Ante starting to pop off and starting to get some results that justify or kind of verify them as a team that is popping off in the right direction. Let's take a look at Sunday. From gamma to beta to alpha in the scene transitions here. Again, this is where you see the round one thing kind of taking effect here, and I'm genuinely curious because most of alpha bracket was 2-0s. And these ones, you got to think like, okay, well, if it went to a best of 5, maybe some things could change here. Maybe Clownfish could pull off a reverse sweep. It's possible. But do we want to get this one started into round 2 early and just, yeah, like we want to get this one over with, get into round 2 so we can get the bracket. It's better for the entire tournament to get this one moving quicker than it is to see, well, maybe Clownfish can win 3 in a row. And that would take like 25 minutes or so to do. So that's kind of sucks for some teams, but hey, you got to show up early. You got to show up ready to go on Sunday, or it could be like round 1 is way more critical than it's ever been in the past because it's just best of 3 now. I think it's fair. Hidden Radiance played Hidden Radiance again. This is Hidden Radiance of the Twilight versus Hidden Radiance of the Dawn. Dawn being the team that got bumped up. They didn't qualify for the bracket, but they got bumped up because of all the drops. Now these two teams did play in Swiss, and we put it on the stream because we thought it'd be funny. Unfortunately, it was plagued by DC issues. Hidden Radiance of the Twilight won that one 3-0, basically because of DCs. So it's good that they got the rematch here, and Twilight got the win straight up. Now, we didn't see this one. That maybe more DCs happen in this one. Who knows? But I'm willing to assume that this was just a straight up pure win that went into Twilight's favor over the Dawn. Hidden Radiance, man. I don't know what these guys think is hidden about them. This is the least hidden team ever. Now that there's 2 different teams going in here. Regardless, a couple of 3-2 matchups here and there. Intimidation Factor is the team where we're going to keep an eye on. Who are the winners that I got from this bracket? I'm going to go with Chemo Mimi EDM Squad, and the players that make up this team, since this is a pickup team. Joe Ryan, not Jorian, I believe is what I've called them in the past. Joe Ryan came into the pre-show. Make sure I got that right. Vapor, Xenocakes, Lycan, and Shaz. Basically a Outcast Ninja pickup along with Lycan, who I know is a free agent. So those guys definitely a winner from what they did here in this bracket. Other winners I got here, Intimidation Factor. Again, all eyes are on the team that wins Little Squid League. What do they do in next low link? Do they finish in beta? Do they make alpha bracket and pop off, kind of like Legato did? Intimidation Factor went to gamma bracket, which is fair. If that's where they end up, that's where they end up. But they did good enough here. 2-1 over Murder Inc. Swept Oofish. Almost beat Rising Tide, who won the whole tournament. And then got another win here against another pickup team before finishing in 4th place. Intimidation Factor looks pretty strong. I feel like they justified their little squiddly win of how well they played in this tournament. Murder Inc., I believe, deserves a little pat on the back here as well. Another winner role here. Yes, they lost in the first round, but they went to the final game 3 of the best of 3 set, and then got a couple of wins in losers bracket here. Black Squid Boys and the Red is the captain, Flowey is not, something like that. Also, the password is whatever. So Murder Inc. going in a bit of a run here in losers bracket, getting a little bit of redemption here and getting some quality wins to finish out this tournament here. For Rising Tide, getting the sweep, surviving, avoiding a bracket reset, and clutching out a game 5 here over the pickup team. The number 1 seed. It is very rare we see a number 1 seed actually win a bracket. I think it happened both here and in beta. But Rising Tide, you see the path they took wasn't particularly easy. They had to earn wins all across the day. They never swept anybody. but still was able to get the win. The last time we saw Rising Tide was back in July, where they got eliminated in losers round 2. Basically where Hidden Radiance of the Dawn is right here. So is Hidden Radiance of the Dawn going to win Gamma Bracket next Low Link? We don't know. It's still Rising Tide. This was the Rising tournament of Low Link, and Rising Tide got a nice bracket win here. We'll see what they do going into the future. Now, they weren't the number 1 seed initially. They got bumped way up because of all the drops, but took advantage of the teams that were in front of them, of the opportunities that were presented to them, and got a nice tournament win here. Nice work, Rising Tide. In beta bracket, once again, the number 1 seed goes all the way through and wins. Not an easy route for Ink Bashers this time around, but still a nice win nonetheless. I guess some matches to point out here. Anima in Ocean 7, basically, went to a game 5 here. Anima being the team that finished in second place, another pickup team, Ocean 7. Ocean 7 played really strong in this tournament, and we'll get to them in a second, but still, Anima played in a lot of these really clutch sets where they really had to grind it out. 3-2 here, 3-2 here against Squadra Azura, 3-2 against Squadra Azura again in losers finals, 3-2 against Ink Basher. So Anima really had to earn that second place there, and might have played the most amount of games of any team in this tournament. Even though they had a little bit of an easier run through losers bracket when they got in there. But a very nice run for Anima. And I do want to point out the players on this because I know this is a pickup team as well. Kipu, Moo, River, No, Dot, and Adam are the players that make up this team. So nice work there to get this one here. My winners for this bracket. Got to go with Ocean 7 or Spooky 7. Got the win against Blue Moon. Couldn't clutch it out against Anima, but still went on a loser's run. We love it when teams pop off in losers bracket. 2-1 over the Pirates. 2-1 over the Sweepy Shields. 2-0 over Kappa or Spoopa. I can't wait till November when you guys use your actual names again. And before losing to Anima again in a rematch that didn't go into their favor this time around. Still, Ocean 7 definitely popped off. Again, made beta bracket here. It did really well. Are they going to be allowed in Little Squid League? That's not my call to make. But still, their time was limited anyway, so it's good to see them. It's good to see them do really well in a beta bracket tournament. This is what happens when you idiots actually play and don't drop in low ink. Squadra Azura deserves a little shout out as well. Beating Peer Pressure to start it off, surviving a Game 5 against the Sweepy Seals 3-2, and beating Anima to start off, going into a matchup with the Ink Bashers and then losing to Anima again. So Squadra Azura really taking advantage. Did they? I think they didn't qualify for. I think they got bumped up because of all the drops, or maybe not. I can't. Because I think they did. Yeah, they went 3-3. Yeah, they got into beta after drop, so they qualified for Gamma. So this is another one of those teams that just took advantage of an opportunity given to them and did really well. Gamma, beta, we can't label these teams based off of where they actually are. You are banned from Little Squid League. Okay, well that takes care of that. Still, Squadra Azura, very nice result for them here, finishing in third place in this tournament. Also, I do want to give out a shout out to Power Inc. Yes, I kind of point out this is not probably not the tournament they were expected, but still, after losing the Sleeping Seals, they did kind of take care of business. 2-0 Peer Pressure, 2-0 Up the Ante, 2-0 Blue Moon. So they at least went into beta bracket, a bracket they have won in the past, and put on a good fight in the losers bracket here. I think they'll bounce back next month. I think they'll be just fine. Ink Bashers ended up winning this tournament again, just like Gamma. The number 1 seed went all the way through. This one a little bit of an easier path here. Swept Snow Cone, swept Up the Ante, 2-1 over Kappa, swept Squadra, and then fell into a little bit of an issue here with Anima. They said they were kind of. I don't think they. I think they have a bit of a wait, and this was the last bracket to finish. So I think after winning this one, I don't think they managed their break properly is what I'm kind of getting out of this. Maybe this they've been in grand finals of beta before, but they came in from the losers side where they were constantly playing. but it's a little bit different when you have that break and you don't really know what to do. So being their first time coming into it, a grand finals with a little bit of a lengthy break because they earned it, I think they'll figure out how to manage that break a little bit better so that I think that's what played into the factor of Anima. Not to take credit away from Anima's win here because they were really competitive, but I think this is just one of those things where momentum versus break, and it takes a while for a team to kind of heat up and get back, capture that kind of momentum that they originally had here. But Ink Bashers clutching it out. They were second in Gamma in June from the loser's side. So it was Gamma bracket that they came into a grand finals in, not even Beta. So Ink Bashers grown up a lot since June. And the team that beat them in June in Gamma bracket, that was UU. So quite the bump up for them as well. Alpha bracket, man, I could talk about. I literally did not write any notes about Alpha bracket because I could talk about a lot of this stuff just straight up from what we saw. I mean, there were so many great matches. Again, Wipeout Punk's access denied. You got the sense watching this one that this was like the true winners finals that just got played in quarterfinals early. And again, Wipeout Punk's getting the win over access denied, but I feel like they left too much emotionally in to get that win because they just weren't ready against this team they swept yesterday. And Unlimited Women getting the better of them. And then when these two teams, I feel like when there's pressure to win and you feel like, okay, anything short of a win isn't going to satisfy us. And you saw access denied players tweeting like they weren't happy with how they finished here, which is understandable. But when you take a loss this early and then you're like, oh, we're in losers round 2, that can kind of weigh on you. And that kind of leads the door open for a team like Rising Stars, who's just, we're just happy to be here. Dueling dynamics. And that probably led to what this win was right here. Same with kind of Wipeout Punks. I mean, they took the loss to Uwu and then just ran into a buzzsaw here with Extra Big Cheez-Its, the pickup team. I was genuinely surprised that this matchup was happening right here when we got to it. I was expecting it to be like ITAP Wipeout Punks. So when we went to it and I saw these two teams here, I was like, whoa, wait, what happened? What happened to Access Denied and ITAP and Wipeout Punks? Like, where'd all those teams go? Where's Leg? This is weird. This isn't unexpected. We got to talk about this one to some extent. I mean, this produced a moment that we're going to remember forever, that IPL is going to replay forever because it is a moment worthy of replaying. Myopsidus just getting the better, just making a right flank. We have the incident. Maybe you could call this the shark. But I mean, that's hard. Like, it's so easy to be in chat and just be like, just press X and you'll see them. I watched the stream of ITAP. They did press X and you could see it on there, but they're not looking at that one specific spot. They're looking at the little block by the sneaky, which is fair. Like, it's so fair to understand how that worked out. And it just worked out. Like, that shark was just perfect. I mean, that's Splatoon. You can hide in the tiniest pixel of ink and get away with it. Is it really expected that you have to paint every single pixel of ink and you should assume somebody's hiding in the tiniest blop of ink? No, you'll be paranoid to death if you do that. It's impossible. So Myopsidus just made the right play, and it's a play we're all going to look at forever. But the narrative of it shouldn't be that ITAP screwed up. The narrative should just be Myopsidus made a fantastic play. So it should be more so patting Myopsidus on the back rather than being like, how could ITAP not make that play? Because I feel like that's a play my team would screw up on for sure. But still, the story with Myopsidus is, and the story with this whole low ink in general, was basically, all these teams are using different weapons, and it's off meta, and it's really cool. Yeah, but you had Myopsidus, who was basically doing the meta. And somebody pointed out, I just took a screenshot of the game 10, the weapons they were using, because there was like 2 rollers, a blob, a Luna Blaster. Like this was the grand finals of Low Ink. It's crazy weapons. And somebody was like, yeah, but the only reason they're doing that is because the other team's not doing the meta. Well, that's not true, because Myopsidus was doing the meta. They couldn't beat Uwu, and they couldn't beat Rising Stars. So I'm not saying what they did countered the meta. Really what it comes down to, who's just better at that moment, regardless of what your weapon is. But to sit here and say that, if a team uses a meta, this instantly counters that. It didn't. Myopsidus is case in point of that. For the teams that finished, I feel like I've talked about Uwu and Rising Stars to death already. So if you want to hear that again, go watch the VOD of the intro of the Popcast here. But once again, hats off to Rising Stars. If you're curious who Rising Stars is, somebody sent me some information about them specifically. Obviously, we verify everybody, but we did get some more in-depth information. It was basically... it's a Brazilian team, started playing earlier this year, and it was basically Farofa Stars from Super Jump. I kind of mentioned Farofa Stars barely from a team when I was hyping up another team in my top 10. I was like, hey, this team beat Farofa Stars. So Farofa Stars is a pretty good team. Now they're just not. I don't know what the word Farofa means, or if I'm even pronouncing it correctly. But now they're rising and doing pretty good. Are they going to be the number one team next year? I don't know. I don't know if that's fair to say, because I think one of the main reasons they did so well is momentum. Again, when you're in losers bracket, why do we see this constantly? Teams pop off in losers and just rip everyone apart. It's because you're getting momentum here, and you're constantly playing against teams that have just lost. Right? So they beat JPEG and they're going in, Phoenix just lost. Well, we'll beat them. Axis and I just lost a heartbreaking game 5. We'll take advantage of that. ITAP lost the biggest heartbreaking game of the entire tournament. We'll take advantage of that. And then they run into a team who's also in a deep run and has to take them to game 3. But again, Myopsidus, we could have won that game 5. We don't care. We're just happy to be here. We'll take that. So it takes things. It's all about expectations. Now, there is going to be expectations on Rising Stars. There is going to be a target on their back. We know what they're about. So next tournament, if they come back and they make alpha bracket, they're going to be in access denied position of where if they lose, it's going to be like, oh no, we're not supposed to lose right now. It plays a mental toll. And that's why I think we constantly see teams get the better end of this tournament when they're just camping out in losers bracket all day long. And Uwu, hey, we're excited to see what they got coming up in the future. I've always said, oh no, what's going to happen? This team wins Low Ink and now they're just going to disband. I don't know. There might be something. We'll keep an eye on Uwu. Not spoiling anything. Puh. And that'll end today's episode of the Popcast, because this is going on very long. Oi. We'll probably talk about Spawn Point's shopping list tournament next week, maybe. And we'll talk about Little Squid League after that. But there's a lot of things coming up that we'll be discussing. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to, if you want to give me information about your team, if you, I don't know, you just want to say hi to me. Sometimes I won't say hi back, but maybe I will. Who knows? Feel free to reach out to me at my socials below. Discord _Mr. Twitter, Mr. Popgun. Discord, Popgun, #5882. YouTube at 25Popgun. Twitch at Popgun25. Anchor.fm/Popgun. We are going to raid WADZM, whoever that person is. Tell them I said hi. I won't be there. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next Monday. Maybe I'll do a Halloween episode next Monday. Alyssa Dom.